Hey guys, welcome to Nerd Network, where we talk everything pop culture. I'm Jared, this is Jaden, and today we're talking Avengers Doomsday cast. Interesting topic. Lots of people there and not there.
Yeah, there's a little bit too many people that aren't there, in my opinion.
So we've got some names to name off. Ones that we thought were prominent, missing. Doctor Strange, we got Moon Knight, Daredevil, Punisher, Hulk, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, any of the Guardians, mainly Star-Lord, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, and then Deadpool and Wolverine are two obvious ones, I think, for everyone who watched that movie.
Yeah, which I do think something about Star-Lord is that he is confirmed to appear in that new Vision show coming out soon. There's like concept art of him and Vision sitting on a couch playing like a video game.
Vision show?
Yeah, there's like a show about Vision. It's called I think it's just called Vision. You didn't know about that?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Anyways, there's concept art of like Star-Lord playing like a Game Boy and Vision, like the white Vision, sitting next to him on a couch, and they're both just wearing like regular clothes. So Star-Lord is gonna appear. I don't know when that show comes out, but he is gonna appear again. But like all of the new Guardians, we saw them at the end of Guardians 3, and none of them are confirmed to be in the Doomsday. Like,
yeah, so the new Guardians are still it's Groot, and then it's Cosmo, Rocket,
Adam Warlock,
and I don't know the Arrowhead guy's name
or the
name.
girl,
Mantis. Nope, not Mantis.
No, there's like a child, isn't there? Wasn't there like a young child? I don't know. I feel like there was like
in the end scene when they're all like charging towards
yeah, they all like talk about their favorite bands or like favorite music from Earth,
like little pink haired girl.
Yeah, there's like a small child.
Maybe.
Anyways, none of them were confirmed for the cast list. Like, and I don't understand why they would. Which, to be fair, with that being said, Marvel did say in a post, Robert Downey Jr. commented on one of their posts, I think it was on Twitter, about the chairs and said, wow, that's a lot of names or a lot of chairs or something like that. But then Marvel responded to Robert Downey Jr. saying there's always room for more with multiple periods. So obviously that's not the final cast. If I had to guess, it's probably just the cast that's already been signed on. Like people that have already confirmed that they're like signed the contract, all that stuff. But I do think it is notable that like Doctor Strange isn't in it. We haven't seen him since Multiverse of Madness, at least as far as I'm aware.
Nope.
When he got the third eye, whatever, which was odd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Captain Marvel's not in it. I never watched the Marvels movie.
Me either.
So I don't really know what happened to her after that. But the fact that she's not in it and she's regarded as one of the most powerful Avengers is interesting.
Well, Marvel has a really hard time making her character likable or interesting at all. I think Captain Marvel was the first film from Marvel that I fell asleep in the theater. So, I mean, her as a character, I don't think Brie Larson is a bad actress. I think it comes down to writing.
I don't think Brie Larson's a bad actress either. I think she's just an unlikable person. I've seen some press interviews, like, for instance, I think it was on the Godzilla movie she did. She had not Godzilla, Kong. I don't remember which movie she was in. It was something in that universe where she was in either a Kong or Godzilla movie. But there was like a press tour they did, and I saw clips from it, and I just couldn't listen to it because she has a very monotone voice. So I don't think it's entirely either her fault or the writing fault. I think it's just the fact that I don't know.
Person.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Which I didn't see Captain Marvel in theaters. I waited till it came out to streaming or to rent to watch it. But yeah, the fact that she's not in it, and I mean, I don't remember which one. I feel like they say something about her being like, in Endgame she took out an entire ship of Thanos's in his fleet by herself. Like, the fact that she's not going up against a multiversal threat, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think talking power scaling, Doctor Doom is revered as one of the greatest villains in Marvel Comics and Marvel TV. So
Fortnite.
Fortnite. So, I mean, as much as I would love to see John Bernthal, Charlie Cox, I don't know what Daredevil or Punisher could offer to this group of characters. Even Moon Knight in some senses. So
That's
it's
what I
like,
was about to say.
I mean, everyone wants more Moon Knight, but Doomsday might just not be the right time to give it. I don't really recall, because it was like 3 years ago, right? Moon Knight came out.
3 or 4, yeah.
I don't recall how it ended exactly.
It ended.
They introduced.
It ended with
Jake Lockley being introduced.
Yeah. The like therapist dude with the long gray hair or whatever. Yeah, he got into the limousine.
Yeah.
And Khonshu was in there, and they were talking. And Khonshu was like, "I'd like you to meet my friend." And Jake Lockley rolled down the window and then shot. What's his name? But after that, we haven't seen Moon Knight. Season 2 was delayed indefinitely about a year or so ago. Unfortunately, if I had to guess, I don't think we're getting season 2, which makes no sense because at least everyone I've talked to, Moon Knight was one of their favorite of the MCU shows from that time period. Like most people would rank it, not me, but most people would rank like WandaVision, Moon Knight, Falcon the Winter Soldier, or Loki. Which, to be fair, Loki...
I don't know who you're talking to. That's a terrible ranking.
Loki Season 1 wasn't as good as Season 2. It was good.
No, but Season 2 is arguably some of the best Marvel animated...
I know, but that's why I said from that time. Like, WandaVision, Moon Knight, and...
Phase 4.
Falcon the Winter Soldier all came out at the same time.
Okay.
They were all, like...
Sure.
They were all releasing within a few months of each other.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I would personally rank Moon Knight as one of my favorites. But what you said... He's a street-level character. I mean, in Marvel Rivals, he literally has a voice line where he's like, I'm used to fighting street-level threats. I don't know why I'm fighting a multiversal event right now. Which it's supposed to be a throwaway line, but it is a fact. He is just a street-level fighter. I mean, maybe not street, because Egypt, but...
Yeah. Well, that's where I get confused with Moon Knight. I've got to read more about it. I mean, if he's powered by a god... Why is he considered a street tier character? But that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah, we could talk about Moon Knight for a
I want to
episode.
get to the rest of this cast that we're missing. We're missing Bruce Banner. We're missing Hulk. I know tons and tons of Marvel fans are wanting a revival for this Hulk. I like the look. I like Mark Ruffalo. I just want to like the Hulk more.
I think they need to somehow, if possible, backtrack from Professor Hulk. Like, I don't know if, like, get a
absolutely
extra dose of gamma radiation or something like that, where he's not stuck between Bruce and the Hulk at the same time and being Professor Hulk. Because ever since they made Professor Hulk, other than in, like, Endgame, he's been completely unlikable. Even in Endgame, he wasn't great.
He was just a funny bit.
Yeah, like, the part where they send Scott back in time, that was funny. But, like, I didn't watch the entirety of She-Hulk. I watched, like... Yeah. I watched like 2 episodes and then just saw clips from it. Like I saw the clip where he introduces his son. Yeah. That is one thing, dude, I saw.
Like, they just threw Scar in there and then we've seen nothing. I mean, the design was awful. The design was terrible. But we've seen nothing else about the son of Hulk.
Yeah. Which I think this, obviously slight spoilers here because I think this has been leaked. There is some concept art that's been leaked. I think it's concept art. There's a chance it's fake, obviously, with any rumors or leaks, of She-Hulk, Hulk, and Scar wearing, like, Planet Hulk clothes. There's a theory that they're going to have, like, a B-tier storyline, or, like, a...
See, that's... if you ask me, going from a Hulk wearing spandex to going to Planet Hulk without... a lot of meat as far as story goes in the middle. That's just too far. I mean, even though I want a strong Hulk. I want a Avengers level threat Hulk.
Yeah.
But going that far without something in the middle is just, it's something you can't do as writers. So,
and there is the chance that is like a leaked. It was like something that they planned to do in Thor Ragnarok. There's the chance that could have been from that, and it's just now being, like, brought forward, and everyone's like, oh, it could be current MCU, and it was old. But what I think is that Marvel's too scared to do a solo Hulk movie,
Yeah.
Because the first few failed.
Well, I mean, I don't know IMDb box office ratings of the '08 Hulk.
Yeah.
But going back and watching it now, I like it.
It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think that it performed well box office wise. And I think because of that, I think Marvel in general is too afraid to take risks nowadays. I think their biggest risk they've taken recently was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
That was their biggest risk.
Shot,
yeah. And I think if they do more movies like that, like if Thunderbolts is a big risk taker, like I think they could actually pull something off where they can do a good Hulk movie if they tried. And they aren't afraid to like risk stuff.
My thing with that is, if you're going to take a risk, have it coming off something excellent. So, the last thing that I thought was good from Marvel was Deadpool Wolverine. So,
well, I mean, Brave New World wasn't terrible. And it wasn't the best Marvel movie they've ever made, but it wasn't the worst.
I mean, but it took...
It was slow.
It's a different review for a different day, but my very short thought bubble on that movie is I waited almost 2 hours to see the best Hulk we've got since 2008.
Yeah.
That Hulk was sick. But anyways, let's get off the Hulk. I did spend 10 minutes about the Hulk. Who else were we missing from that we talked about? We talked about Strange. We got our Moon Knight. We got our Punisher and DD and Hulk. Miss Marvel, I didn't watch the show. I watched 2 episodes of the show.
Same.
I don't know if that makes me a fake fan of Marvel or comic book stuff, whatever, but I cannot get into a show like that.
Yeah.
There's just no substance.
Exactly.
I mean, it was the first 2 episodes, it was like brain dead. I was just watching a screen. There was nothing in it for me.
Which, they name dropped Miss Marvel in Daredevil.
Yep.
I've seen things saying, I think it was from Charlie Cox actually, saying that the reason they're name dropping both Skrulls and Miss Marvel is just to make the universe feel more together because it's gotten way too big, which I agree with.
Right.
It's gotten way out of hand. But with that being said, it could be that they're trying to bring Miss Marvel back into it. I also only watched like 2.5 episodes and couldn't get through it just because there was nothing there that I enjoyed, which maybe got better. I don't know. But as far as her, I don't feel like she could take on a multiversal threat.
No, there's no. I mean, I don't know the full extent of Miss Marvel's powers as far as the like live action goes.
Yeah,
but,
I mean comic wise,
just based off of what I saw in the 2 episodes of her getting her powers and her, like whatever, learning to use them, she really just looks like a lesser Mr. Fantastic who can make. Who can summon some kind of energy. I don't know what it's called or whatnot.
Yeah.
I do my research, but like I don't know. I mean, I would put Moon Knight being here, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as skill and experience goes, but I don't think she'll be missed if she's not cast.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's gonna be a bunch of people like, oh, why is Miss Marvel not in this
Where's
movie?
Kamala Khan? Yeah.
No one. Yeah. One person that I don't think can handle multiversal threats, but he's been in multiversal threat movies before. Where's Hawkeye?
Well,
he retired technically at the end of Hawkeye, but I mean, you said this before we started recording. He's retired at least once before, and then became Ronin, and then came back as Hawkeye to train Kate Bishop.
For 1 episode.
Yeah, of that show.
Hawkeye.
So where's Hawkeye? Where's Kate Bishop?
I think if they're going to bring one of the two in,
it would be Hawkeye.
I think it would need to be Kate. Like, I mean, I love Clint Barton. I love the energy he brings.
Jeremy Renner's great.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if he has retired once or twice, let Kate shine. I loved Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And Kate Bishop was a huge part of that show.
Her and Yelena.
That dynamic was.
It was hilarious. It was great.
Yeah. And so Yelena's already she's already cast.
Yes.
In Doomsday. So if we get that again, there's just something that we can hope for.
Yeah. Which that's another thing. I mean, on the Hawkeye point, I haven't looked into like what he decided on doing with his career after his incident. like Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. His legs all jacked up.
Yeah, because I don't know what he decided to do after that. So there's a chance he's not even acting anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think you're right. I think out of the two, Kate would be the better one to see. But at the same time, that's a big thing with this movie is like it's such a big threat, like maybe even like Thanos level, if not possibly more, depending on which version of Doom they go with.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't understand how any street level villain or street level heroes are gonna play into the story at all.
So, I think talking two more characters I want to point out. Wolverine is a big one, considering how many former X-Men we have, like how many of our original X-Men we have. I mean, I'm not gonna get them all, but we said Mystique,
Nightcrawler, Beast,
Magneto, Professor X, Beast, and Cyclops.
And I think that was it.
Yeah, so we've got 6 of our original X-Men. Where is our Wolverine?
Yeah.
I know Hugh Jackman, was the whole Tier 90 thing. It might be a joke, but if you're going to give us all these originals, we want the best of the best. I want Wolverine back.
Yeah.
And not having Deadpool, I understand, if they want this to be a more serious movie.
But at least make him cameo. Like,
well, I mean, cameos, I think, are going to be a huge part of the movie, like we talked earlier before this. I'm fine without Deadpool if this is a more serious tone, but I want my Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I think at least Hugh Jackman and James Marsden need to interact at least one time. Mm-hmm. At least once, which... because, I mean, he was phenomenal in Deadpool and Wolverine. The story they gave that version of Logan, which is another thing that I didn't even think about until just now. That's not the same version of Logan.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of his X-Men are dead, bringing him into a movie with a bunch of X-Men could make for a really emotional scene, really good storyline, and could lead us into an actual X-Men TV show or movie. I'm not sure.
It has to be with an all-new cast, because I'm sure that people, they're all in their 50s.
Yeah,
60s,
I mean, it could be like a young X-Men type thing.
Yeah.
If we get a TV show.
So speaking on how many people are in this movie, the topic we want to get to now is if we're casting, I mean, how many is that? 20, 30 people? Something like, I mean, somewhere between.
I think it was like 30 something.
Yeah. So how are we gonna? Unless this movie is 5 hours long, how is everyone gonna get a meaningful role in this story? And I'm not saying everyone has to have a meaningful role, but I do not want to see 2 seconds of Cyclops blasting his eye thing and then getting killed. That's not what I want to see.
No, I don't think they can kill off I don't think they can kill off people like that. Maybe you're not gonna like this, but they might kill off like Professor X or Magneto.
I mean,
just like sacrifice themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
but I don't feel like they can kill off Cyclops. Speaking on the fact of like how long is this movie gonna be? Avengers Endgame was over 3 hours. It was 3 hours and...
Was it?
It was 3 hours and 2 minutes. Or 1 minute.
You're lying.
3 hours and 1 minute. It was 3 hours, 1 minute. You can't really see it, but you can look it up for yourself. With that being said...
3 hours? There's no way.
It was a long movie.
It didn't feel like it, though.
I went to a Thursday night showing, like the night before of it at like 10. I didn't get out till after 1.
But that didn't, I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so well done. The pacing is great that it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It feels like... It feels like 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's... I still like Infinity War more, but that's Marvel's last masterpiece is Endgame. As it should be.
No Way Home.
Oh. I mean... yeah, but that's more of a... Okay, so I say masterpiece. I'm talking like everything is fantastic. This is all awesome. No Way Home was this... Huh?
Nothing.
No Way Home was the same thing, but that was such on a more personal level for me, because I love the character of Spider-Man more than any other character in fiction. So I mean, I can't biasly say that was, on the same level or in the same category as Endgame. I mean, because Endgame was, what, 10 plus years, like 23 movies of waiting for that last moment.
It was the
it's 3 hours long.
Pinnacle of a 10-year setup.
Yeah.
Which is the craziest thing, is that now I feel like Marvel, just in general, which this could be a whole other movie topic or video topic, is fighting to catch that high again.
We can't.
And I feel like part of the reason for that is the fans. I feel like it's partly on the fans that Marvel keeps trying to do that, and I feel like that's why their movies keep flopping to a certain degree. Because like I said, like Brave New World was a good movie, but it got hated on. The only reason I can really think of, other than the fact that first beginning of it was slow, is the fact that that one scene wasn't even CGI though.
When he landed,
they shot that on set.
What scene?
The scene with Anthony Mackie and the cherry blossoms in the back.
Oh no!
Okay.
I'm talking about when he lands in the first 20 minutes of the movie, and I mean he's going like Mach speed, a regular human, Mach speed down. And he just lands on a knee with a shield. Like, I get his suit is vibranium. Like, I understand that. But you're a human flying directly down at Mach speed. You're not, I mean, you're hurt somehow.
I mean, that could be a whole argument. Like, reverse thrusters, landing thrusters, stuff like that. But, anyways, I think Doomsday has big shoes to fill. But the fact of the matter is, there hasn't been the same amount of padding that there was for Endgame. Like, Endgame, like we said, had 23 movies.
Yep.
But they're trying to make a movie bigger than Endgame with way less backing to it. And I don't understand how they're going to do that.
No backing.
Yeah, like...
We have not seen a sliver of Doctor Doom in the MCU.
No, not at all. Which, that was something I did want to talk about, which we didn't write down, but I did want to bring this up. Do we think Doctor Doom is going to appear in the Fantastic Four? Do we think he's going to be from that universe?
So here's the issue I have with that. So I'm going to assume, as if everyone else probably already has, Galactus is the main villain for that movie, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't get rid of Galactus in one movie. Galactus has been downplayed in all of Marvel for way too long. Galactus is a multiversal, if not more than that, threat. I mean, he's, there's one of him.
Yeah.
So you can't get rid of him in the first movie. You can't. So he needs to just go away somehow. I mean, don't kill him, obviously, but you can't put Doom in that movie at all. He cannot be, and in the end credits, he can't be hinted at. Nothing. This needs to be a Fantastic Four first steps kind of feel. So, no, Doom should not be in that movie at all. Like, at all.
Yeah, I agree. I do think maybe, I don't know. I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face at all.
Nope.
As Doom. Nope. I think that will take away from it so much just because of the fact that he was Iron Man. It won't make sense. It just won't. Him being Doom, it just being the voice, him wearing the mask, I'm fine with that. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I put my faith in the Russo brothers to where they can do that somehow. But I do agree with you, but I think at least Victor Von Doom needs to be name dropped. At least once.
What if they did like a 2015 Fantastic Four thing, and they're like, Pedro looks over at Vanessa Kirby's, oh, we're doomed. And she's
Say that again.
Say that again. That'd be funny. No, I totally agree with you. I don't think, even just the voice, though, I don't think RDJ has the voice for Victor Von Doom. Because when I think of Von Doom, I think of, low and slow and even raspy at times.
And that's another thing I don't think any live action Doctor Doom has done. They haven't given him his accent. He's Latverian. Yep. He should have an accent.
So,
not a strong one, but it was there.
It should be there. I think, and I know this is a fan cast Cillian Murphy
Yeah.
would have been... I mean, I didn't watch Peaky Blinders. I watched, like, 2 episodes of it. But just the way he looks and watching...
Continue.
Just the way he looks and like the vibe he brings on screen in any film. I mean, I think he would have been. I mean, like nail on the head. And what I'm hoping they do is I pray. I know that this would throw away the whole big reveal of RDJ as Doom. I pray that he's only Doom for a matter of minutes, and then he is switched out for a different version, or he's even killed and replaced. I do not want to see a lengthy movie where RDJ is the main villain as Doom. I don't want to see it at all.
That's one thing I want to talk about later. But just keeping with the casting theme, I do think that it's going to be nearly impossible to give even just the 30 they've already announced enough screen time to matter.
There's no way. Unless it's in some kind of big... Well, what it makes me think of, it's going to be some kind of big final battle crap.
Like in-game.
Like in-game.
I mean, Black Panther wasn't in that movie...
At all.
Yeah, Black Panther, Spider-Man, like all the people who were snapped.
Yep. At the end, and they're all cast on the list.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I mean... That's a thing that I think they're gonna have to do well. Is I don't understand why they would cast 30 names already if those 30 aren't gonna have meaningful screen time, and if they aren't gonna have meaningful screen time, they screwed up by announcing those 30.
You've got people, you've got X-Men fans, you've got Fantastic Four fans, you've got, I mean, just comic fans excited for all of these.
Ant-Man finally coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all these casts people are excited for, and they're going to be cameos, and it's going to suck.
And that's one thing that I didn't think about before. I don't understand the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. You watched the post-credit scene, right? Where he's walking outside, talking to himself, like in his head. Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
So he's like talking. He's like, "Well, we did it. We beat Kang. Like we put him away for good." And he's like, "Or did we?" And then he's like, you know, all this like he's like, "No, we definitely did." But what if not? Like he goes back and forth for like, and it's played off for laughs.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to set up Kang like as the big
Kang
villain.
Dynasty,
Kang Dynasty. I forgot the name of the movie. But now that they're not doing Kang because of unfortunate events, I don't understand. Like, is that are they just gonna not mention that scene at all in Doomsday? Like, is that actually just gonna end up being a joke?
See, I think that's the issue. Is I didn't read super into what happened with Jonathan Majors, but I think that just completely writing off Kang as a whole is ridiculous.
Letting Kang be killed by ants is ridiculous.
It made me angry.
But if it wasn't that, like before everything happened with Jonathan Majors, if like the way they originally set it up was that he got killed by ants, but then he wasn't actually dead, which is what they made it seem like because of that post-credit scene, then it would have been fine. But the fact that they made him, like, set him up as this big bad, and now he's just not going to appear again,
at all,
that's not good.
I mean, there's all his variants, but I mean, like...
I think they screwed up by doing that. Showing all the variants and them all looking like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because now they can't do anything.
The only route they can go is there's the one variant that he doesn't get along with the others, and he's the strongest Kang, some crap like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Kang is way more than what they made him out to be.
That's another problem I have with Marvel. Specifically speaking, which they did this with Thanos. They made him a 2-movie villain. But like with Ultron in the comics is an insane villain that like is nearly impossible to kill, kills heroes, like all this stuff, and they give him 1 movie and had him die. And I think Marvel doesn't feel like they can do multiple movie villains. And that's a that's a serious issue.
Well, see, I know that Age of Ultron was before Thanos, but my thing is they saw the success with Infinity War Endgame, so why wouldn't they just thrive off that? Why not give us... I'm fine with Doomsday Part 1, Part 2. I don't have to have different titles. Just let me know that this story continues. Even Part 3. I'm fine waiting 3, 4, 5 years for a good, fleshed out story versus, getting this crap we're getting every year.
It's like what they've done with the Spider-Verse movies. Like, there's 3 of them. They've come out nearly 5 years apart every time, but they've all been, so far, they've all been bangers. They've all been so good.
They're going to be your
some of the best animated movies ever. Yeah. It'll go down in history as one of the best animated movies. Miles' first, really, movie, I think. But I just feel like Marvel, even after Thanos, I feel like the only thing the only villain I can think of, at least off the top of my head, that they've brought back multiple times and done well is Kingpin. He was in the original Daredevil TV show. When they got the rights for that, they put him in Hawkeye, and they put him in Echo, and now he's in Born Again. Again. They've done that phenomenally well. We'll talk about that another day, but him in Born Again is amazing, and it's just getting better.
I want to drop... It might be a hot take about Spider-Verse. I think Into was better than Beyond. I don't know who else thinks that, but...
You mean Across? Beyond's the new one.
Okay, yeah. Across. So Into better than Across, my bad. I think that, while Across was awesome, I loved Miguel O'Hara. He was famous. He was so cool. Awesome. I think that being a fan of the character Spider-Man, regardless if it's Peter, if it's Ben, if it's Miles, whoever it is, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he comes from, he is him alone, fighting his own battles. And I understand, getting to the Spider-Verse thing is it's a whole step up, but I loved the personal relationship that Peter had with Miles Into the Spider-Verse, and watching him grow throughout that movie. That was, I think that's the best animated film of all time. I don't know,
Yeah, which, there's some stuff, we can talk about that over a whole other episode, Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse, what we expect from those movies. But I think the first movie wasn't focused on setting up the second movie, but the second movie was focused on setting up the third movie. And I think that's where it lacks slightly. But I think after Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, going back and watching it, it won't be nearly as bad.
Maybe. I don't know.
But anyways, back to...
We really got sidetracked.
It's going to happen. We're going to get sidetracked.
So, I want to mention the comic that I told you about earlier regarding the plot of Doomsday.
I have a few theories as well.
I haven't theorized anything. I saw this on TikTok one day. The comic is called Demon in an Armor. And from my understanding, in short, the story is Von Doom is broke. He ain't got no money. He's very, very smart, obviously, as he should be, but he needs funding. He goes to Tony Stark. I guess they're mutual friends. Goes to Tony Stark, asks for money, and all Tony wants is to be a part of the experiment. So Doom tricks Tony into switching bodies. So now Tony's conscious is in Doom's body, and vice versa. And then, so we get Victor Von Doom as Iron Man and Tony as Dr. Doom. And I don't know, I've thought, I don't know any other way that makes sense.
There's no other way. Specifically because they've already established... Okay, here's where I get confused with Marvel. There's a lot of places to get confused with Marvel. This is one big one. Multiverse doesn't make sense in a lot of ways, but one specific way. Tom Holland is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is Peter Parker. They don't look the same. Kang, thousands of his variants are all the same, except for there was a few that were random alien species, but they're all the same. But then Into the Spider-Verse, it's a bunch of different Spider-Man. So is it only specific characters that don't look the same across multiverses?
Well, the only major difference I noticed between those two characters you just named is, you're talking Kang, Avengers level threat, Spider-Man street tier. I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
I don't know how any other characters...
But even Loki. Loki, all of his variants, one was literally an alligator. Like they're not all the same, and I don't understand. Yeah. So like, while yes, the best way to explain the fact that this is Tony Stark from the MCU universe's face, but is Victor Von Doom, that would be the best way to explain it, is through that comic. I don't understand why. Like, this is just a general not understanding why some variants all look the same, but other variants are completely different. And it's only with certain characters, like Spider-Man. I mean, like I said, there's the 3 that we've seen live action, and then everyone across the Spider-Verse are all just different Spider-Men. But as far as Peter Parker goes...
Spider-Women.
Yes, Spider-Man and women.
And animals.
There is a cat and a T-Rex. You're right.
And a pig.
There's a pig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyways.
Spider-Ham?
Oh, yeah. I'm crazy.
What are you talking about?
I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason. But no, that's, like, as far as Peter Parker goes, we've seen Peter B. Parker from Miles' universe, one that died. He was blonde and looked like the other Peter Parker that mentored him, but not exactly the same, which both of those, to me, look like Andrew Garfield, but animated slightly. Face shape and hair.
Yeah,
face shape, hair, and length, and, I mean, other than the fact that the other Peter Parker's fat.
And as a kid, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, Andrew looks different. Andrew looks like those 3, different hair, but then Toby doesn't look like Andrew, and Tom Holland doesn't look like Andrew. So I think it's just a problem that they have with multiverse, is they don't... I just have a problem with the multiverse in general. The multiverse as a whole is getting so exhausting.
Well, I think... So, as far as the Spider-Man issue, I mean, you're talking decades apart. I mean, and then different, you got Sony, and then you got Disney making their Spider-Man. So, I mean, that could just be an issue with, just the time it took apart to make these movies and who's making them and, and whatnot. But, I mean, no, I understand your point entirely.
They lack consistency in a lot of areas that there should be consistency.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, another one, the Fantastic Four. They're not the same. Like, they don't look the same across their multiple movies. And I think the problem really comes down to is that Marvel just doesn't pay attention to what they've done in the past. Because, like, all of Kang is the same, but they didn't have to do that. They could have made them all different because that's how it's always been.
Well, so I'm noticing one thing, and this is just with these 2 examples. Mm-hmm. Toby and Andrew, Sony.
Yeah.
Tom, Disney. And then you got the first Fantastic Four, Fox. Mm-hmm. And then 2015, who the hell was that? Who made that?
I think it was still Fox. I think it was just a reboot.
And then this one coming up, Disney. So it's just...
I think they just really strongly lack consistency in the places where consistency is the most important.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're gonna want these 2 Spider-Men, and I'm not saying they're ever gonna be in Marvel like in movies again, but I'm saying if you want them to seamlessly transition into this multiverse thing, like you're saying, consistency is super important.
Yeah,
they just don't have it.
Like consistency, the places you should have consistency is with multiversal stuff. That should all be consistent across all things. Mm-hmm. Power sets should be fairly consistent. Like certain
sets, like just your powers.
Yeah, like what, like Spider-Man can crawl up walls, shoot webs, like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Daredevil can hear really well to where the point where he can basically see. But I just think Marvel lacks a certain level of consistency that they should have in the business they're in.
I'm going to point this out. I know this is off topic, but in Born Again, in episode, is it 6? Yeah, episode 6, where it's 5, in the bank with the jewel and whatnot. So, I was asked, how does he know what color it is? Because he puts it in the thingy with the butterscotch, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I never thought about it. He can hear so well that he hears the vibrations coming off of the object. Like, because light radiates, which makes colors, colors appear or whatever. He hears that and senses that. And that was insane.
Yeah, that's a really cool detail. Counterpoint. Doesn't Kamala's, whatever her name is, doesn't her dad say what kind of diamond it is?
I don't think so. I think he just says, they're in the vault, and he says that's one big diamond for some lowly banker or something like that.
I was just going to say, if he says what diamond it was, he could have just figured out what color. Oh, we're at right at 40 minutes, so we still got time.
How long do we want to make this?
Hour. Roughly. Anyways. So...
I don't know what else
we still have to talk about the plot. I have theories and stuff.
I have nothing. I have no theory about because like I said earlier, it's not going to make sense unless they somehow get Tony Stark in Doom's body. But that presents another issue: is who's playing Doom. So that's what they could maybe that response from Marvel could have just been like one more person or two more or whatever. Maybe it's not 10 more stars that we're getting. Maybe it's just a really big main character that we're missing. Maybe it is Doom.
Maybe Victor Von Doom, not as Doctor Doom, not the guy in the armor and the cloak, sure. The villain. Maybe Victor Von Doom makes an appearance in Fantastic Four First Steps as just Victor, like Reed's friend Victor. He's there because they went to college together, right? Like that's their backstory. They went to college, they were friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes slightly throughout different medias. But he makes that appearance, and then the opening of Doomsday is that scene from the comics, because I think that's the only way that they can explain that being done is the fact that Victor transferred his consciousness into Tony Stark.
I mean, if you guys have any other thoughts, theories,
comments,
because I have no idea how else they're going to do it. So,
one thing that could be really cool. I mean, I think as far as it being Robert Downey Jr. goes, they have to do it like that, unless they're just going to completely ignore the fact that he looks like Iron Man.
I mean, that's my main issue with it is you started your MCU with this guy. He was your cornerstone, and for the entirety of it, he started it and he ended it basically. So how are you gonna? I don't know who was in charge of casting, and I don't know if it was the Russo brothers. I don't know if they were like, "Hey, Tony," or like RDJ, like we're friends, we're cool. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you bring your most iconic character and just twist it, unless you're doing something like that.
There's multiple variants, obviously, of Tony Stark, and I think maybe it could be one of the ones that like stayed in the weapons business and didn't become Iron Man or something like that. And then they transfer consciousness. But here's the crazy thing that I found out a couple days ago. I don't know if I told you this. Robert Downey Jr. is writing the backstory. He's the one. I mean, he's working with a team of writers, but he's like studying Doctor Doom comics and all that stuff to write the backstory for his Doom. As much as I love Robert Downey Jr., I mean, everything I've ever seen him in, he's been great, except for Dr. Dolittle. We don't talk about that. As much as I love him as an actor and I trust him, I don't know if he should be in charge of writing the backstory.
But what else has he written?
I don't know.
I have no idea what else.
I mean, he may have worked on Oppenheimer. I feel like I heard something like that, but I don't know if that was true and Oppenheimer was good.
I mean, if I can look up some things he's written before that could ease my conscience, but knowing that makes it worse. I mean, RDJ is a great actor, but I have never heard of him being a director.
But that came straight from, I think it was Joe Russo himself.
Oh, my word.
Which is unfortunate.
See,
but
I want to have faith in the Russo brothers with this movie because of their record, but I don't see this movie being better than a 7 out of 10.
I don't see it being better than Endgame in any way, unless they do one thing that they've done in the comics before. I don't know which comic it was, but there's a comic, I saw a video about it the other day, where basically it's Doctor Doom and Thanos talking to each other, and Thanos is like, "I'm more powerful than you. I'm
the white
yeah,
that's God."
And then
Doom.
And then like they're talking, and he's like, I held the Infinity Gauntlet, all this stuff, and Doctor Doom's like, "Well, do you have the Infinity Gauntlet now?" And Thanos is like, "No, but I'm still more than enough for you."
Yeah.
And then Doctor Doom just punches through his chest,
grabs his skull,
rips out his entire spine and skull, and says, "It doesn't seem like you are," or something like that.
It doesn't appear that way.
Yeah, it doesn't appear so, or whatever.
I don't know
but
what the book is, but I've seen that so many times.
I think if they want to make this Doom a bigger threat or something like that, they gotta do something of that sort.
But that's okay. So I've got like 2 or 3 points to respond to with that. So one, a threat like that you can't shove into one movie, and I know that they're not gonna. This movie will not be longer than 3 hours or 4 hours. So you can't shove that kind of threat into a 2.5 hour movie, and that's the big issue with that. And 2, Thanos in our MCU, he's died twice. Like the main version, and then a different version who just happened, to realize that he was getting screwed over in the future.
Yeah.
So if you kill him a third time, I think that really decredits what Thanos did in Infinity War and Endgame. And
does it decredit, or does it just show how powerful Doom is?
I think it decredits because you're not building Doom. You're not building him over a course of, a show and a movie or 2 movies or 3 movies. You're just putting him in there and saying, "Hey, this guy is super strong."
See, that's exactly my problem with them having Doctor Doom being a main villain. Is that Thanos appeared in the post-credit scene of the first Avengers movie, Avengers Age of Ultron,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like, he appeared in so many facets of media in this 20-something movies before he actually was the main villain. And Doctor Doom has not appeared in this so far.
Nope.
They set up Kang with both Loki and Quantumania, and he could have had enough basis to be a good villain.
Yeah.
But now they just completely undid that.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that this movie is going to have a problem with, is the fact that they literally just erased Kang and brought Doom from literally nothing.
They're throwing him. They're just tossing him out there. I mean, that's why I say 7 out of 10 at best, because there's no basis for. So if I try to look at these movies as an uneducated, just casual fan going into a movie. What can I learn about this character that will tell me, how he got this strong, or why is he this strong? They're just throwing him in as the main villain in an Avengers movie, because to the casual viewer, Avengers, you're thinking, oh, humongous team up. This is a bunch of super strong heroes against this one guy, and there's no build up. I agree with what you're saying.
What are the chances that they make it like the first Avengers movie? What if this movie, just plot wise, we're still on plot, is just jumping through multiverses, and that's why we have all the cameos we have?
Well, people are going to hate that.
They are.
Yeah, it's going to be like The Flash, where he's going through, and it's going to be so bad.
But, that's not off the table. With the cast list we have, and with the fact that there's no basis for this, it's not completely off the table, which is unfortunate, because Doctor Doom's one of my favorite comic book villains. He is so well written. He's such an interesting character. He so well done. He does do that.
He rides bears.
He rides bears. That's our first introduction to Doctor Doom. He just pulls up on a bear in the MCU. 10 out of 10. No notes. But no, I just feel like they're gonna do Doctor Doom as dirty as they did Ultron. And that's a big issue, because Ultron could have been a 2-3 movie villain if they did him right, and they just threw him out there. He was so good, and then he's dead.
Yeah, I think Ultron, maybe not as a movie, but as a character, I think he has the best dialogue in any comic book film.
Absolutely. The biblical references, the voice acting for it, the what doesn't kill you and ripping through the other Ultron simply makes you it is So good. That's one of my favorite. Unpopular opinion. That's probably my favorite Avengers movie to date. Like I love that movie. It's the
over Infinity War.
It's up there. It's if I'm gonna sit down and watch one, I'm not gonna watch Infinity War. One, because it makes me sad. Two, because it's a long movie. And three, there's like so much going on. Like, I mean, if I'm just gonna sit down, or if like, I'm gonna turn one on just to like watch while I do something, yeah, I'm gonna pick Ultron because I love that movie. It's good. It's
the last like grounded Avengers film that we got.
Exactly.
Okay. No,
yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, that opening sequence where they're fighting through the snow, so well done. The sun's getting real low. Hulk in that movie was so good.
Don't bring up that crap. I can't stand. I can't stand. I mean, like Natasha doing it's one thing, but watching Sam Wilson talk to a pissed off Red Hulk about cherry blossoms, God, that makes me so angry. Off topic, but anyways, no. I mean, I agree completely.
But yeah,
that Ultron was fantastic.
But he was underused, and they're gonna. I mean, I think the chances of them doing the same thing with Doctor Doom is higher than the chances of them not. And that's unfortunate.
I think
Here's the only way in my mind that they can not underuse Doctor Doom. And that is making him the villain of Secret Wars. I don't know what comic it is. Maybe, I don't know if it's in Marvel Rivals. I don't know the backstory to certain stuff, but I feel like there's one where like Doom gets like the Infinity Stones and brings like a bunch of Marvel characters into like Doom World where they like fight each other or something like that.
Doomverse, something like that, right?
It's out there. I know it is. I should have looked into it before this. I didn't think we'd get here.
Me either.
But if they do that, and that's what Secret Wars is about, and they make a third movie with Doom, they could. I mean,
well, I think this last half hour is turning into you saying things and me being like, because okay, so I just watched Loki. I didn't rewatch it, but I watched the last episode or an episode the other day, and Infinity Stones. I think that after seeing, I mean, the Tesseract in Avengers 1. The Mind Stone in Ultron. Yeah, I think we've had our share of Infinity Stones, especially after Loki. I mean, him opening that drawer
and they're just being paperweights. That was devastating. Especially to him because for him it was like
he died practically.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I agree with you that it shouldn't be Infinity Stones, but I'm just saying if they want to do something to where like. If they're not going to underuse Doom, the only way they can do it doesn't have to be Infinity Stones, but has to be that Secret Wars is from the fallout of what happens in Doomsday, and he's still a villain. Like, he's still at large. Because there's the theory that, like Chris Evans is going to come back as, like, Captain Hydra and stuff, and Tobey Maguire is going to come back as... there's a bunch of theories, which we can talk about that in another episode. But I think that's the only way that they can stand to not underuse Doom is make it to where Secret Wars is caused by him. Which I haven't read the Secret Wars comics.
I bought it. It's over there. I haven't read it yet, but it's over there. I'm going to read it eventually.
Which, we can talk about Secret Wars in a future episode.
I want them to reform the Illuminati, but I want them to do it right. Because if I'm not mistaken, Illuminati is super involved with Doom at certain points. But, I think we've pretty much summed up our expectations for this movie and what it can be, what it should be. But, like I said, what I think it's going to be is, I think it's going to be a bunch of multiversal jumps. It's going to be a bunch of cameos.
If it's anything like what they did in Multiverse of Madness, I'm going to be so pissed. Multiverse of Madness, where... him and what's her name, America Chavez, are jumping through all the portals. While it looked cool and stylization wise, it was good.
It served no purpose to the story.
It was completely unimportant. It was just to show her powers. And so if we're just jumping through multiverse in this movie, it's not gonna be.
There's another character who's not here. Why is she not?
America Chavez, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because see, that's my issue right now with Marvel is. Well, it has been for a while. These characters, male or female, whatever, who could be so interesting, they're not spending any time on them.
No.
I mean, I'm not asking for a 8-episode show for every character that we see, but I'm asking for some depth. Because all I know about America Chavez is she's alone and can't use her powers correctly. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah, they underuse people too much. That's something I want to talk about in a different episode. But they have a big problem, and it's too many big characters at once.
I think what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to do their best to stay true to the source material, but they're wanting to appeal so much more to the casual fan versus people like me and you who, this is something that we're passionate about. We love this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and we want to see it done right. And
the fact that they're not appealing to people like us, I think, is a problem, because I don't think they understand how many people are like us nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, when it first started, obviously, like, when first Iron Man came out, people thought it was going to fail. Like, they set up the first Avengers movie with that Iron Man expecting... Like, Jon Favreau's literally said he expected that movie to go nowhere. Mm. And now look at where we're at. What is it, 17 years later?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy. But the problem is they're... At some point, they backtracked back to the stance from that Iron Man, where they're not making it to the... Or they backtracked to that Iron Man where they're not making it for comic book fans, they're making it for casual fans, and I think that's their problem. They need to make it more for comic fans, because nowadays, because of the MCU, people have been reading more comics. They've been getting into, like, the source material while we wait for movies to come out. Like, especially me.
They want to learn more.
Exactly. Like, I got obsessed with that stuff after I was, like, first allowed to watch the MCU movies. Like, I started getting into comic books. I'm recently trying to get into graphic novels. Like, it's just they don't appeal to the right audiences anymore.
Well, because what they don't understand is that casual viewers... I mean, I see a movie I like, I'm going to go buy, T-shirts. I'm going to buy action figures. I'm going to buy, collectible sets, whatever. Yeah. I'm buying that stuff after I see it because I liked it. Mm-hmm. But, other people won't do that. So, they're almost losing out on a lot of money they could be making, if you just wait a year or two more for a great movie, which I'm fine with. I'm fine waiting, like Batman Part 2. It got delayed till, 2027. I'm fine with that because I know it's going to be fantastic. Mm-hmm. See that again. So, no, but I'm fine waiting for a better product.
And I think that's Marvel's big issue. I mean, like, if it can be summed down to anything, it's that they're trying to get so much stuff out, putting it to the casual fan, and then it just ends up being practically garbage.
Yeah, it ends up being, like, here's a hot take on Thor Ragnarok. I don't like it. It's fun. But the Thor that I know and have read about, Thor is not a joke, and you take Thor Ragnarok as it being a success, which it was. I mean, I enjoyed it, but you take that and then, Taika Waititi, he sees that, it did good, and he's like, let me just double down on that and make Love and Thunder and just shit the bed.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
Love and Thunder was awful.
So,
And that's another thing we didn't talk about. The kid, Love.
Yeah. Where's she at? What's going on with her?
Like, the ending of that movie was them both jumping with, Mjolnir and Stormbreaker?
Yeah. And she had Stormbreaker.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense. But anyways, I guess she's not worthy. But, like, them both jumping with that, and the movie ends.
Yeah.
And then she hasn't been spoken about since.
Yeah, that's another villain that they just completely...
Thor the God Butcher.
Dude, I've read the story where he fights 3 different Thors at a time and beats them all.
Yeah.
You don't take a character like that and just crap. I mean, Christian Bale, I liked the design. I liked Christian Bale as Gore. I liked his motives. I liked everything about the character.
Yep.
But you throw him away in a crap movie.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Zeus, Hercules. Where's Hercules at?
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know. Another thing is, like, Thor and Loki are going to interact in this movie by chance.
Yep.
One thing I don't understand, how is Loki going to leave the timeline when he's literally, obviously spoilers, how is he going to leave the timeline when he's holding it together and appear in this movie?
Variant.
How is he going to react? How is Thor going to react to seeing Loki's alive? How is Loki going to react to seeing Thor is so different and completely different person? Like, they have too many unsettled plot lines to settle in this movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly wouldn't care for them to put out a 10-episode show and just completely reset it all. I'm talking all of it. I mean,
that's something I wanted to, something I want to talk about in a different episode of this, is that a lot of people are thinking Marvel is building itself up to a soft reboot, but that's something
we need a hard reboot. All of our actors now are getting too old. I mean, Paul Rudd's in his 50s. Chris Hemsworth he's got early stages of dementia. So I mean, it's like these guys are just, we need new talent.
Yeah.
But speaking, oh my god, new talent's something to talk about later on.
We're getting out of
Ironheart. No, please God, no. We don't want Ironheart.
Yeah.
Not this way, at least. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
as far as Doomsday goes, we've put out what it should be. We've put out what it is probably going to be. Cast members that are there and are not there. I really think that's like all we can talk about in this episode without getting too ahead of ourselves with with other movies and stuff.
Yeah, we've went off topic 7 or 8 times about Spider-Man, Hulk, and
in case you're wondering, this is what the future episodes are probably going to look like. Is a lot of yapping. ADHD. Yeah, a lot of yapping, a lot of rambling, spiraling, rabbit holes.
No, I mean, just to close it, Doomsday, it's got to be done so delicately, and if not, it's going to fail. I hate to say that because I want to see it succeed, but it's going to fail. Will I still go watch it? Of course I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah, we're going to go pay to see it.
I'm not going to skip out of it. But yeah, that's my final opinion now. I mean, we'll wait May of next year when it comes out, and maybe, it could put me wrong, and I hope it does, but it's going to flop. It's
a 20/80 for whether it's going to be good or not. And
that's some pretty bad odds.
I don't like those odds. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening or watching, whichever one you did. See you in the next episode. I'm pretty sure that's going to be about the Minecraft movie, which should be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to see it in the next few hours.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and upload another video talking about our pre-thoughts and our afterthoughts. So, we appreciate you guys for watching. This being our first episode, I want to say that, this is something that I'm passionate about. So is Jaden. We both love talking about this stuff. If there's anything that we can do to improve your experience as a viewer, please let us know. We're all in on this. We're all in. I mean, we're going to be doing this. If someone watches or if they don't, because we love doing this stuff.
Because we talk about it with each other all the time, and then we eventually were just like, why don't we start a podcast if we're going to be talking about it for hours anyways?
Let's share the opinions and let's get some thoughts and questions, which is something I want to do eventually. I want to do Q&As. I want to do things like that. So, I think this was a pretty good first episode.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. See you guys in the next one.